Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the MindShare Podcast. So, you have a new competitor. Now, before you start thinking it's the agent down the street or some brand new discount brokerage or one of those pyramid brokerages or the guy who got licensed 6 months ago because, his Uber side hustle wasn't paying enough. No, it's Google. Yeah, Google. See, when I first heard about it too, I was like, what the fuck? Uh-oh. This is where it starts to get really real, right? I mean, people put trust in Google. We've been using it for years. And every single time Google steps up to the plate, it seems to get on base, if you know what I mean. Google's like that DH who you don't even, you don't even put in the field. You just bring them in to hit the baseballs. See, every time Google gets involved, it's on a mass scale. It's got the power of influence, like the power to influence billions of people really, really quickly. Well, now, Google is involved in real estate. This is episode number 391. Now, before you roll your eyes and, tell yourself I'm being all dramatic and like this is crazy and like big deal, Google's been around forever. I mean, let me walk you through something that I did recently. Because I don't think people realize right now how far this has already come. Okay. The other day I got a call from somebody. Long and short of the conversation, he was like, did you hear? I'm like, did I hear what? He's like, Google. I'm like, what about it? He's like, Google's in real estate now. I'm like, hasn't Google kind of sort of always I don't know. Well, I guess maybe they haven't. Like, what do you mean Google's in real estate? And they repeated themselves, like, Google is in real estate. So I was like, okay, hold on a second. Now, really quickly, the first thing that I did was I went straight to, you got it, Google. I went there and I literally typed in this exact prompt. It was very simple, 3 words. I said, Google real estate. That's it. Then it came back to me real quickly, obviously, and said, and I'm going to do like air quotes right now. Okay. So picture my hands, air quotes, right? So open air quotes. Google allows you to explore real estate directly on Google Search and Google Maps. You can search for local listings, view property details, and directly contact agents without leaving the app. And the air quotes. Interesting. Then it continued, again, air quotes again. If you tell me the city or the neighborhood you are targeting, or your ideal budget, I can help find relevant listings and agents. Again, and the air quotes. Okay. Now you've got my attention. So I typed this in. I'm going to do the air quotes again and go, something in the $1 million range in Aurora, Ontario. And within seconds, it started explaining the entire market to me. It started actually giving me properties of interest that somewhat sort of matched. But it also said to me, detached homes would be difficult in that price range. And it suggested an upgraded of townhomes and semis and freehold links and actual properties, like I said. And then not just the properties, but the brokerages. And then the agents. And that's where I decided to keep pushing. So I typed in the next one. I'm like, well, I want a freehold, and I want you to recommend 5 specific agents who are best suited to assist me and tell me why they are the right ones. And it did it. It gave me 5 agents. It gave me specific names. It gave me reasons why. It gave me a whole bunch of market knowledge. It talked about, their experience and what they specialize in. And it showed me their reviews and what people are saying about them online. Everything. And at this point, I'm thinking, okay, this is interesting. So I kept pushing. And I asked some more questions. And I asked the one that I know that a lot of people are either asking already or will probably be asking really shortly. But I typed this in and I said this. I said, do I really need an agent to help me shop and buy a house? Or could you walk me through everything step by step? And of course, I sat back and I waited for a second, just a real quick second. And here's what it told me. You do not legally need a real estate agent to buy a home in Ontario. You can absolutely buy a home unrepresented, and I can walk you through the entire process step by step. What? Listen to that one again. I'm going to say it one more time, okay? Quotes. You do not legally need a real estate agent to buy a home in Ontario. You can absolutely buy a home unrepresented, and I can walk you through the entire process step by step, end quote. You see, whether you agree with this, with that statement or not, it ain't the point. Whether I agree with it or not, it's not the point. The point is, consumers are asking. And not only are they asking, they're getting answers. And they're getting the answers without talking to you, without calling your office, without attending an open house, without filling out some lead form or going online, without ever stepping into this world in any way, shape, or form. And that is a very different world than the one that most people in this business built their careers in. Now, check this, because here's where things continue to get more interesting, right? And most people are gonna listen to this and kind of get pretty defensive. And it's like that group that I said that to, that time that I was hosting that dinner earlier this year. I said to people, I said, why you? Where's your value? And then when I continue to sort of say to them, hey, what if I went out and I could literally write a course right now at dinner that teaches people how to buy and sell real estate without an agent. And I could come up with a pricing model and a marketing plan and all this before dinner was over. That's how quickly AI can work for us. So the question is, what are you doing to battle it? What are you doing to work with it? What are you doing to leverage it? What are you doing to work against it? What are you doing to prove your value? And this is where, again, most people sit back and it's the typical thing, right? Because, again, this is where we get defensive. We go, no. Like the typical answer comes out and says, people will always need realtors. I mean, sure. Maybe. I mean, straight up, I certainly think they will for the foreseeable future. But I don't actually think that's the right direction we're going, the right question we're asking. It's not about whether we need realtors. It's why do they need you? See, those are two completely different conversations. And if you can't answer that question clearly, confidently, and specifically, you got a problem. Because, look, the consumers, the home buyers and sellers, not just competing against, other agents anymore. They're comparing you against what's good for them. They're comparing you to how fast you work and how fast you can do things. And they're comparing you against all the technology and all the information they got access to. And they're comparing you against, an answer that pops up within seconds on a screen. They're comparing you and your commission versus having an app that can help them for pennies on the dollar, or even for free. Think about that. Comparing you and your commission versus having an app that can help them for pennies on the dollar or even for free. For years, this industry has operated, behind what we'll call a wall of information, right? We had the listings and the market stats and, the processes. This is what we do. We've got access to the information. We've got all the answers. We can look things up behind the walls, the logins, the MLSs. You know what I'm talking about. Consumers needed us because we control the information. I mean, at least that's what, that's what we've been telling ourselves all these years. But I mean, you look at right now, you go what about right now? What now? Information's everywhere. It's free. It comes to us in a split second, immediately. And all this stuff about having a username and password and having certain licenses, the whole gatekeeper thing, it's gone. And that's why you can't just ignore this whole thing. That's why this is very, very real. I mean, think about this. There's an entire generation of people that are entering the housing market right now. And don't get me wrong, I don't think many of these new people can afford it. The younger ones, they can't even find freaking jobs right now. Don't get me started on this entire economy and all this federal government stuff. I know you didn't say anything, but I'm still thinking about it and it still triggers me. Anyways, but think about them. right? Like brand new generation of people entering the sort of the home buying and home selling journey over the next, year, few years, decades. I mean, everybody beneath us technically is newer, right? Um, but they don't walk into offices anymore. They don't go asking people for directions. Hey, do you know how to get here? They don't go to payphones with quarters. They don't ask, how do things work? They pull out their phone. Need a ride? Phone. Want to order some food? Phone. People want to go on a date? Phone. I think that's kind of wild. Need a hotel? Phone. I need answers from something. Google, AI, phone. Mortgage calculator, phone. Real estate information, phone. So why would we assume that their first instinct is just call a realtor? I mean, for many of them, there's no shot that's the first step. Like it isn't. It won't be. It's just not how they're programmed. It's not naturally in their DNA. Instead, most of them are starting exactly where you'd expect them to start, and that's on the phone. That is online. And if that's where they're starting, then we need to understand what they're finding and how they're finding it, and how to, like, when they get there, how did all that come up? Like, how did this work? See, because if we don't ask how, if we don't figure all that out, your future in this game, it's going to be a lot shorter lived than you might have originally anticipated. All right, time to take a quick commercial break here. This episode of the MindShare Podcast is brought to you by Kits Keep in Touch Systems, your industry leader in client keep in touch marketing that drives more repeat and referral business your way. If you're not using Kits to help you with follow-up, then you're leaving money on the table. And REM Real Estate Magazine, Canada's go-to for news, insights, and what's actually happening in the Canadian real estate industry. While you're listening, head over to mindshow101.com and grab your free Ultimate Marketing Bundle. And if you're ready to take things to another level, coaching, group training, workshops, momentum training, the reset, reach out. All right, let's get back into this right now. So after that first experiment of just going to Google and typing like Google real estate, I wasn't done. I wanted to know if Google understood its own limitations. I wanted to understand if the same way that I ask you as a person, as a human, why you? What's your value? And what are you going to do that's different than what these online tools can do? Again, why you? Well, I kind of reverse engineered the whole thing, and I went to Google and basically said the same thing similarly. But I asked this. I said, what's the difference between what you can do and what a licensed real estate agent can do? And straight up, the answer was pretty good. I mean, here's what it said. It told me it could analyze listings. It could compare neighborhoods. It could explain contracts. It could draft messages, help prepare questions, research properties, organize information. That's pretty impressive stuff. I like this. And then it went on to tell me what the agent could do. And the agent can access properties. And again, you might want to put some notes down on this one because there's your differentiator. Like the stuff that I just read out to you about what Google said it can do. Now it's a matter of, well, what did it say you can do? Well, access properties, book showings. And like when we say access, we mean physically walk in. Booking showings. Technically, I think Google downplayed it a little bit because if it's online and there's an online system, you could technically automate that process of booking. In saying that, you can actually make the calls. You can actually press the buttons. Representing clients. Google cannot represent clients. You can represent clients. Remember what it said earlier. You do not legally need a realtor. In saying that, part of your value prop would be, you have experience. You've been there before. Google hasn't. It might have the information, but it's never actually done it. And neither are the people that you're talking to. So if they want to leverage Google to try to teach them, they can try it. But they could just put in the wrong clause into a contract. They could end up costing themselves a lot of money. All sorts of things could go wrong because they've never been there before. So Google can't technically represent the clients. It can't negotiate face-to-face. Not that many people are negotiating face-to-face anymore anyways. But again, word to the wise, lost art. I mean, all this digital, DocuSigns and all these other systems that are out there, and some of them are fantastic. But it separates you from being in front of your client. It gives everybody the paperwork through email and doesn't actually put people in front of each other face-to-face anymore. That used to be the leg up back in the day when we talked about negotiation. So maybe, just maybe, there's an opportunity to bring that back. To actually give people who have the ability to sell, the ability to negotiate, the ability to work a deal, the ability to win, as opposed to having every single person on the same playing field because they got their real estate license. And I know those of you that have been in the game a long time, I know those of you that love to negotiate, I know those of you that love to go face-to-face, you are nodding your head right now going, yeah, Dave, let's go. And that's where I say we differentiate ourselves, right? Those people that don't know how to negotiate, can't get to a table, are too nervous to have that conversation, they don't deserve to win. Sorry. What is this? We hand out ribbons to people? No. If you can't win, you lost. Bye. Google can't do that, though. Those of us that get it, we can. So negotiating face-to-face. Providing professional advice. Quite frankly, I think it was downplaying itself there as well. I think it could provide a ton of professional advice. What else did it tell me here? Navigating complicated situations. Okay. Realistically, and this is going to be this is going to be more of an attack on AI than it is just on Google right now. On one hand, I'll say that I actually, again, disagree here. I think very much that the technology, the online tools can help us navigate complicated situations. If you've ever gone to Google and asked it questions and worked through certain problems, or now that we've got the chats and the AIs and all these other platforms, and you go through and you brainstorm and you go back and forth with it, it certainly has the ability to bring a lot of clarity. In saying that too, and this is the one little asterisk, the one little caveat I'm going to put out there. People make it sound so simple to integrate AI into everything and anything they're doing. Oh, I built an app. Oh, I did this. Oh, I did that. But the question, and then those people that haven't tried it look and go, oh my God, look at all the things you can do. Wow, look at what she did with it, and look what he did with it, and I've got to do this. There are very few people who have actually spent enough time to actually build something that has any credibility when it comes to actual real life, like on the shelf that other people can use. And I mean that strictly from AI. Now, let me back that up. I have played with AI for a number of years now. I have been beating it up and prompting it and brainstorming with it and getting creative with it. I've even gotten down the road of building apps with it and technology with it. And when I tell you, this thing will screw up more times than it won't. It'll give you an answer. Then you go and you'll look to adjust the answer, reframe the answer, or look for something, a little tweak. So it'll give you the tweak, but then it'll screw something else up. And if you're not paying attention, it is constantly breaking. Never mind constantly breaking, it can also very constantly be inaccurate. Tell you to do something. All of a sudden you're like, hold on a second. Like I know when my team was building out this whole programming thing with a whole bunch of Excel spreadsheets and all sorts of coding, and it was giving us the framework. I can't claim to be involved in all of this, but it was giving us the framework, and my team was going back and, but that's not the actual formula. The formula's like this, and it's coming back going, oh yeah, you're right. What do you mean, oh yeah, you're right? Aren't you AI? Don't you know everything? Or isn't that what we think it does? And that's part of the issue. Again, people believe that Google's right. People believe that when AI says it, it's right. It's not necessarily right. It's just giving you an answer. And if you follow it blindly and just go, that's right, and I'm going to follow that, you might just be, driving off the cliff, if you want to call it. So look, I went down a little tangent there. As I said to you, that it came back to me and said, it cannot, but you can navigate complicated situations. I believe on one hand, it fully can. But then I also added in this caution to everybody that says, hey, most people just follow like sheeple so they believe it can. I actually believe that Google said this because it's telling us it knows that AI gets confused and Google can get confused. Again, it's not a human being. There's a lack of emotion and empathy. It also said that the difference between it and, let's say, you, the realtor, are that it cannot, but you can legally represent somebody throughout the entire transaction. Now, I got to take a moment to stop here again for a second. The answer is sitting right there. The opportunity itself is sitting right there. The problem, it's sitting right there too. Google just told us exactly where the battle lines are being drawn. That's it, right there. It told us. Okay, one more time here. And again, if you didn't write it down, write this stuff down. Here's what it can do. And I'm going to bullet point this for you, okay? Because this is crucial stuff. Because, again, so many people are going to listen to this, yeah. No, not yeah. Yo, is this how you make your money? Is this how you put food on the table? Is this how you achieve whatever it is you want in life? If it is, take this shit seriously right now. You have to figure out why you. I mean, look, if you're getting out of this business the next year, 2 years, 3 years, yeah, you're fine. But if you're talking like we got like this 5-year plan, 10-year plan, 25-year plan, we got a succession plan. Well, that means that you want to continue in this game. So you need the plan. And again, I'm questioning you and asking you, why you? So it told me, bullet points, ready? Here we go. It told me it could analyze listings, compare neighborhoods, explain contracts, draft messages, help prepare questions, research properties, and organize information. Then it said what the agent does, write it down, access properties, book showings, represent clients, negotiate face-to-face, provide professional advice, navigate complicated situations, and legally represent someone throughout the transaction. Look, consumers don't need you for information anymore. They need you for interpretation. They need you for judgment. They need you for confidence. They need you when there's emotions in the room. That's definitely not something that AI can deal with. They need you, when family dynamics pop up. For those of you that are good with negotiation, when negotiations get tough, they need you. When people start getting uncertain, they really don't know what to do, and they need a hand. They need proper advice. They need a professional. They need guidance. When uncertainty creeps in, they need you. See, Google can explain the contract, but it can't tell you how somebody feels. Like it can explain the negotiation strategy, but it can't actually sit across the table and like read the room and do the negotiation. It can explain the market conditions, but it's not going to calm a nervous buyer who's about to make the biggest financial decision of their entire life. That's where human beings still matter. That's where the professionals still matter. And frankly, that's where the future of real estate lives. But in order for you to even stand a chance, to even be in the conversation, here's where I think most agents are missing the entire opportunity. And I use the word I think. I'm going to change that. I'm going to say, based on what I know, based on the research I've done, based on the problem solving and the reading and the implementation and the testing and the people that I've worked it with and the experience and the time. That sounds a lot better than I think, right? And notice what I did there, by the way. Again, let's take a quick pause right here for a second. I switched, I think, to based on. And I want you to process that for a moment. As I said, I think, I'm giving you a subjective personal opinion with zero substance. So I switched it because it doesn't hold weight. I switched it to the words based on, and then I gave you this like slew of things that I've done, it's no longer an I think. I got proof. I've been there, done that. I've walked in those shoes. Now, why did you stop and tell us that, Dave? Well, because I want you to think that the next time you're at the table, or the next time somebody asks you a question, you go, well, I think. If they ask you about the market, where it's going to go, the price, what should it be, the neighborhood. If you lead with the words I think, you're not giving me substance. You give me an opinion. Anybody can have an opinion. Anybody, including Google. When you give me the based on this, boom, 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 and boom, this is why you should do this, or why I would do that, or this is what it's telling us. Now it's fact. Next time you're at a negotiation table, next time a client asks you a question, think about the words, not I think, but based on. Okay, so here's where I believe, based on all the stuff I just mentioned to you, most agents are missing the bigger opportunity. And what it comes down to? Content. Not social media. Content. And those aren't the same thing. I want to be very clear about that, right? Like most agents hear content and immediately start thinking, Instagram and recording videos and posting about your life every 2 seconds and doing dancing videos. But, we're keeping up with the trends because everybody else did it. That ain't it. I'm talking about your entire digital footprint. The whole thing. Your website, your blog, your Google business profile, your reviews that you get from Google and from your website and even on some of those other websites you might subscribe to. The videos you put out. Again, the testimonials. If you've got a podcast, if you write columns like the articles that you write, your community involvement. Every piece of content that you create, it leaves a trail of breadcrumbs. And that trail is something that consumers can follow. It's also a trail that search engines can follow. And it's a trail that AI can follow. Remember, again, if you're not putting it out there online, in the cloud, where are the search engines going to find it? They're going to go in someone's mailbox? They're just gonna pretend that you exist because you exist physically, you exist. So they should obviously know that you exist online. I mean, you've got one website that you subscribe to, but you do nothing to feed it with content. You think that they're just gonna find you? It doesn't work like that, right? You've got to have a footprint, a digital footprint online, from your social media accounts to your website, fine, but we got to feed that stuff, because if we're not feeding it, we're not saying anything. There's nothing for the AIs and the Google and all this technology to look at. You're not giving it anything to look at. There's just not enough of you out there. See, if somebody asked Google, for example, like I did before, who are the best agents in Aurora? Where do you think it gets the information? Doesn't just make it up. It pulls from what's available online. And if you're not creating content, if you're not collecting reviews, if you aren't, building authority, if you're not showing up online, not only are you becoming invisible, you're actually invisible. And invisible don't get hired. You could be amazing, but if nobody knows you exist, if you're not building enough MindShare, how do you expect to get any market share? And this right here is why I think we're entering one of the biggest shifts in our industry, that we've ever seen. And I'm not talking about next year. I'm not even talking necessarily immediately, it's happening right this second. I mean, it's happening. But like I said a few minutes ago, over the next 5 to 10 years, this is going to be a massive shift. This is changing everything, because again, you got to think about the people that are coming in to the world of home buying and selling. I was actually was out for lunch the other day, and I was speaking with a really prominent broker in the city of Toronto. He's got multiple offices, got hundreds of agents, a really smart guy, successful, well respected. He's become a good buddy of mine, and he said the exact same thing. The writing is on the wall. The industry is changing. Consumers are changing. Technology is changing. So the question isn't like whether it's going to change. The question is, are you going to change with it? See, the agents who are going to survive this next journey in real estate, this next chapter, they're not the ones that are, fighting the technology and pushing back against it. They're the ones that are going to leverage the technology while doubling down on the human side of the business. And again, that is a big key right there because everybody is trying to figure out how to leverage technology. However, most people are not even realizing it. But with every type of leverage they're trying to get, they're actually putting technology in between them and their clients, and they're actually making themselves less relevant. And that's a big deal right there. Right? So again, it's not about just, saying, forget it, I'm not going to embrace it. It's not about just embracing it, but, closing your eyes to it. This is about embracing it and then doubling down on what we know brings us value we know where our value is, and that's the human side of the whole world, the human side of the whole business. The fact that we can build trust and the fact that we can build relationships and communicate with each other and we can lead people, we can guide people. We've got the expertise. We can create a service experience that is unmatched. I mean, if you got 2 people, 5 people, 10 people that sell real estate, what makes them different? Communication and leadership and guidance and expertise and longevity and experience. Not only experience in the business, but the experience they provide to you. And those things aren't going away. In fact, those things right there, they might just become more valuable than they ever have been, which is wild to think because the know you, like you, trust you's always been where it's at. So when we look at action steps here, okay, and funny thing is too, when we think about know you, like you, trust you, Google's already got that too, by the way. Think about that. We already know Google. We like Google. I mean, that could be debated maybe, but we trust Google. I mean, if we didn't, we wouldn't use it all the time. So as we talk about know you, like you, trust you in this game, it's incredible how much we're actually competing with Google. Okay, action steps here, okay? And put pen to paper. You have to put pen to paper. You can't just think about this. You can't just let the voices in your brain go, yeah, sort of got it. The subconscious mind just sort of and then boom, it fires off something else. And then all of a sudden it sees a notification, then it sees a squirrel, and then you come back to the conversation. It can't be like that. You got to put pen to paper here. Answer this one question, really simple question. The answer might be a hell of a lot harder, but the question is simple. Why you? That's it. Why you? Not why realtors versus online. Not why your brokerage or your brand. Okay? Not any of that. Very simply put, why you? What do you do that Google can't? What do you bring to the table that AI can't? What do you do that another agent doesn't? And don't give me some generic BS answers. Forgive me. Don't give them to yourself, I mean. Okay? Don't tell me, I provide great service. Everybody says that. Well, I care. Yeah. Everybody says that too. Okay? I need you to get specific. Then take those answers and turn them into content. Turn them into conversations. Turn them into stories, into videos, into articles, and blog posts on your website. Turn them into your marketing message. Look, if consumers are searching and AI is searching, you need to give them something to search. You need to give them something worth finding. Because if you're not doing that, you ain't being found. Look, the future isn't coming, okay? It's already here. Google can explain the process. They can answer the questions. They can summarize the contracts. They can recommend the agents. They can provide the information. And like I said, people will trust. They will listen. They will follow. Again, we already do when it comes to Google. They've been building their own know you, like you, trust you factor for years now. But it still cannot read emotions. It still cannot navigate family dynamics, and it still cannot sit across the kitchen table when things get difficult. You can. The question is, are you communicating that? Because simply saying, people need me, it's not enough anymore. You need to tell them why you. I'm David Greenspan, reminding you to build MindShare because MindShare equals market share. Thank you to Kits and Rem for sponsoring this episode of the MindShare Podcast, and thank you for tuning in. I'll catch you next week.